Have you ever dreamt of running your own business from anywhere in the world? Today, I'm going to show you how to turn that dream into a reality by running your own e-commerce business, even if you're a complete beginner. My name is Steven. Most people call me Mr. SOS, and on this channel, I talk about helping people grow product-based brands because it's one of the best ways to be successful as an entrepreneur. So if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell so you don't miss any content that I'm going to be dropping. Okay, so the first thing we need to understand is e-commerce. Like, what exactly is e-commerce? E-commerce is essentially electronic commerce. Back in the day, you want to buy something, you have to go somewhere to pay for it, take the product and walk away. With the rise of e-commerce, you do that online. So you need to have your product somewhere, you need to have a storefront, which will be a website, and then people need to find your storefront, buy that particular product, make payment, and you get the product sent out to them. That's essentially e-commerce. If you've ever bought anything online, leave a comment below what was the last thing you bought, because you've been carrying out electronic commerce, in short form, e-commerce. So that's exactly what e-commerce is, because for you to run a successful e-commerce business, you need to first understand e-commerce. And now that we've got that definition, let's start looking at some of the points we need to actually help us build a successful e-commerce business. So with e-commerce, it's natural for there to be a gazillion categories out there, because you can buy pretty much anything. But for you watching this, if you want to be successful with your e-commerce business, it's extremely crucial for you to pick a niche. What exactly do I mean by that? Well, think about it. If you try to sell to everybody and everything to everybody, you're probably going to sell nothing to nobody. However, if you are very focused and very specific on the type of people that you want to sell something to, or the type of product you want to sell something to, for example, that might be supplements for gym goers, that might be supplements for 40 to 60 year olds. Those two are completely different niches. Yes, you're talking about similar kind of products, but because your niche is different, your marketing strategy, which we will come back to shortly, is going to be different. So it's crucial to pick your niche. How do you pick your niche? Well, what do you like? What's your story? What are the things where, if you look back at your origin story, you can start to relate to, okay, I really like that. I love doing that when I was a kid, or so on and so forth. Or you can pick your niche based on trends. I personally wouldn't recommend that because trend comes and goes. But if you go into, like, back in the day where you were growing up, what are those things? What are the problems that you are facing, or currently? Or what are those origin story, the thing that got you active when you was a kid? I'm sure you'll be able to find a niche from that, because when you pick a niche that you can relate to, it's extremely authentic. For example, I'm talking about product-based brands because when I was 14 years old, I built my first e-commerce brand. Now, I run a digital marketing agency helping businesses of product-based brands to grow their business, because I taught myself at 14 years old web development and digital marketing. That's my origin story. I used to sell a lot of products online, headphones, so many different things that I sold online, and I understood the way e-commerce worked. Now, when I look back at my origin story, it's natural for me to lean into this niche because I'm extremely good at it, it's authentic to me, and I can add so much value. The next thing, once you've then picked the niche, is you've got to plan the business. The cliche saying goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So without planning your business, it's impossible for you to know whether you're going to be successful or not. And what do we mean by plan? Okay, you've got to have a clear goal. Is it the revenue that you want? Is it the profit that you want? Is it the number of customers that you want to serve? What are some of these clear-cut objectives that you have for your business? Is it to be able to have a sustainable lifestyle? Is it to be able to run your business from anywhere in the world because you want to travel? You need to be able to quantify those goals into your business plan. And from that, you start looking at, okay, where am I going to source this product from? what kind of platform am I going to use for my e-commerce business, and so on and so forth. It's important to plan. So here's a question to you. When you plan, what's the most difficult thing about planning? If you leave that in the comments, I might be able to make a specific video answering that. Because without planning for your business to be successful, you have no chance of making your e-commerce brand successful. Once you've done that, the next thing you need to look at is setting up your online store. Like I said at the start, the definition of e-commerce, it's electronic commerce. It's commerce happening online. Without a web store, it's impossible for you to have an e-commerce brand. So you need to then set that up. How do you decide what platforms to use? One of the biggest platforms when it comes to e-commerce is Shopify. If you've got huge aspirations, maybe Shopify is not right for you and you need to look at something like a Magento, for example. However, depending on where you are, you might even want to use WordPress WooCommerce to set up your e-commerce store, right? It's important to set that store up, and you've got to think to yourself, are you going to be building this by yourself, or are you going to be hiring a developer to do it for you? Do you have that resources? If you're building it by yourself, then you look at all these platforms and go, which one is one of the most easiest to use? Well, I'll tell you now, stay away from Magento, because if you're looking to build it yourself, that's definitely not the avenue for you. So it's very, very crucial to set up your store. And then when you set up your store, think about your niche. You've selected the niche, you've planned for the business, now you're setting up that store. You need to design your web store in a way where those customers that you've got in mind, when they land on your web store, it's beautiful. They can see straight away that you're talking to them. The type of imagery that you use, the type of video that you use, the written piece, how you've explained your product description. That's crucial for you to have a successful web store. And when you set that up and you set it up correctly, then you start seeing your customers come to you and you're able to make sales and be a successful e-commerce business owner, even if you're a beginner. The next thing to look at is sourcing your products, right? So you've got an idea of the niche that you're going for, you've planned the business, you set up the store, you now need to start sourcing that product. What do I mean by that? Well, as an e-commerce, as a product-based brand, your product is central to the success of your business. So this is where you want to start communicating with suppliers, with manufacturers. Are you going to go overseas? Are there local manufacturers where you live who can make the products that you want to sell? Because you want your product to be high quality. There are so many crap products out there that once people buy and they see it, they're returning it back, you're losing money, and the shipping, the headache, you don't want to fall into that category. So this step is extremely crucial. You need to source your product. You can go on Instagram and source your product. There are different niches. If you're in the fashion space, there are loads of companies out there creating blanks for people. If you want a list of some of those companies, leave a comment and I will get you some of those lists. There are some supplements manufacturers out there who, from a health perspective, are accredited. So whatever your niche is, whatever audience you've decided to serve, it's important to find a supplier that's going to help you achieve that. Because without that, you're not going to see a successful product brand. Now that you've got all of that together, the next thing is your digital marketing strategy. You are going from 0 and you want to get to 100. You're a brand new brand. Nobody knows you exist. You have an idea of a niche, and now you've got your web store, you've sourced your product, you've got the best products in the world. You need to communicate that to those audience. That's why I said at the start of this video for you to have a niche. Because if your niche is too wide, your digital marketing strategy is not going to be successful, especially when you're starting out. So if you think of people like Gymshark, well, they had a very, very clear niche when they started out. Now they're a much bigger organization and they're able to serve a lot more people, different type of folks, but you can still see the core message in Gymshark's marketing strategy. So you need to replicate similar things. What is your niche that you selected? And then the audience, can you know them better? For example, your digital marketing strategies need to involve around creating content, because you need to create content they're going to find valuable. You are using social media marketing, you might be using paid marketing if you've got some budget to fast track that. But one digital marketing strategy you should never neglect is search engine optimization. Because as a brand, if you're doing this for the long term, if you just rely on paid marketing, it's going to get expensive. But if you can put the work in to generate more traffic, the right type of traffic through your search engine optimization activities, you're going to see a better result over the long term. That's what we do as an agency. So if you look at some of my other videos, I've given you so many tips on how to start doing SEO for your product-based brands. So don't neglect your digital marketing strategy, because this is how you start making money for you to be a successful product brand. Finally, now that you've got all of that together, it's time to launch the business. Because there's no point talking about it, it's time to go ahead and do it. You don't want to be that person that dreams and thinks. You want to be the person that puts those dreams and thoughts into actions and then go and do something. You've got to launch that business. You've got to tell the world about it. You've done all the work, right? You found your niche. You've built your web store. You've sourced the product. You've got the right manufacturer to work with. You've got a good digital marketing strategy. You've got the business plan. You now need to launch it. You need to announce it to the world. On all your profiles, it needs to be out there. You need to tell your friends, your families. Now, granted, they're not the biggest customer for you, I'm suspecting, but you need to tell them, because you don't know who they know. You need to be shameless about promoting this business. So go out there and tell people about it. So that's all I have for you for today's video. If you have any questions whatsoever, just comment below and I will do my best to get some answers to you. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to be releasing a lot of videos to help you be successful in your product-based brand.